Today, the Trump administration took a big step towards repealing another signature Obama-era policy.
Do you believe in global warming, climate change? I think it's a big scam.
The clean energy revolution is under attack in America.
It is the beginning of a very broad effort to roll back what has been done.
The effort to harness the power of renewable resources has been creating jobs, turning profits, and cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
This is what the people want us to do.
But fossil fuel interests are fighting back to protect their profits, not only in Washington, D.C., but also in state capitals across the country.
Is it really, truly essential that you have to have renewable portfolio mandates?
We investigate how a web of coal companies, utilities, think tanks, nonprofit foundations, and political action committees mobilize to roll back clean energy initiatives, one state at a time. Ohio, a key swing state in the industrial heartland, is a major battleground in that strategy.
We were called evil, stupid, and these people are our friends.
Is Ohio a playbook for the rest of the country?
If they win, it will create a playbook that they'll take to other states.
They say it is rigged.
It is rigged.
What happened in Columbus, Ohio in April 2008
Clerk will call the roll.
Put the fossil fuel industry on notice. There would be no more business as usual.
Schuler, Schuring, Seitz.
In a historic move,
the Senate does concur in House amendments to substitute Senate Bill 221.
The Ohio legislature passed a bill that mandated that 12.5% of all electricity sold by the state's utilities come from alternative energy resources, including hydropower, biomass, wind, and solar by 2025.
Renewable energy must be part of our future.
This is what the people of the state of Ohio want us to do.
Kudos to everybody who helped put this bill together.
Ohio became the 25th state to embrace an alternative energy strategy, nudging utilities away from coal-burning plants and toward wind and solar farms. It wasn't just good for the environment, but the economy, too. Ohio now has more than 105,000 clean energy jobs, most in construction and manufacturing. And those jobs grew 6 times faster than any other sector from 2015 to 2016.
When Bill Seitz talks, people tend to stop and listen.
Representative Bill Seitz is the floor leader in Ohio's Republican-controlled State House. Before being term limited in 2016, he was a state senator and chairman of the Public Utilities Commission.
So these mandates, you voted for these in 2008, correct?
I did vote for the mandates in 2008. It seemed like a very good idea at the time.
It wasn't long, though, before Seitz and other lawmakers changed their minds.
Senate Bill 221 was epic fail. Epic fail.
So what happened?
Tonight we're focusing on an energy boom in the state of Ohio.
The fact of the matter is, right after we passed this bill, we, like Jed Clampett, discovered that we were sitting on a mountain of natural gas.
It sits atop the newly discovered Utica shale deposit.
The boom made natural gas abundant and cheap, shifting the political winds against renewable energy.
I think you need to dance with who brung you, and in this case, it's natural gas. It's a resource with which we are blessed, so we should be riding that horse for as long as we can.
Soon, studies started showing up to support legislative efforts to undo the law. They warned clean energy standards did more harm than good, killing jobs and forcing consumers to spend billions in extra energy costs.
I'm just going to be very blunt that these studies have been debunked by a wide array of government interests, of independent consultants, university researchers.
Sam Gomberg is a senior energy analyst at the Union of Concerned Scientists, a nonprofit advocacy group.
So are you saying the studies are bogus?
Absolutely.
Who funds these studies?
I mean, it's a variety of special interest groups who we know, have a very vested interest in maintaining fossil fuels' grip on our electricity sector.
The web includes the Heritage Foundation, as well as Americans for Prosperity, funded by energy billionaires Charles and David Koch, and think tanks like the Buckeye Institute, located in this building across from the Ohio State House, which produce industry-friendly studies. Ray Hederman is the group's executive vice president.
Can you name some of your investors in the Buckeye Institute where you get your funding?
We respect the right of the First Amendment for people to be able to donate anonymously to causes they believe in.
Do either of the Koch brothers support the Buckeye Institute?
We respect the right of our donors to remain anonymously if they choose to engage in any type of political activity that involves free speech.
Then there's ALEC, officially known as the American Legislative Exchange Council. The Washington, D.C. nonprofit spoon-feeds draft legislation from corporate interests to state lawmakers. Its goal is to repeal renewable standards across the country. Ohio's Bill Seitz sits on its board of governors.
I'm not taking marching orders from ALEC. Frankly, I think I've had more influence on ALEC than ALEC has had on me.
His bills, though, keep coming.
So to all of you who say, oh, my grandchildren, my children, I want clean air.
First to freeze, then make voluntary Ohio's clean energy standards.
Vote yes or be branded an anti-capitalist.
But that fight goes beyond Columbus to towns and farms across Ohio.
This is in the northwest part of the state where wind energy has transformed this farming community.
Here in Van Wert County, over $1 billion has been invested in wind-related infrastructure because of the state's renewable energy standards. This wind farm is the state's largest. There are 152 turbines here. Each can produce 2 megawatts of power. Combined, that's enough electricity in a year to light 76,000 homes. More than a dozen of the 500-foot turbines are located across the road from Connie Mosier's farm.
Our neighbor over here, he's a huge farmer, and he receives approximately $15,000 per wind turbine. So if you multiply that times 14, you can see that he's able to buy machinery, invest, buy more land.
She says the extra income also protects them in bad times.
When the crops aren't so good, the farmers who have wind turbines have a sense of security.
Not everyone is a fan. Signs opposing the turbines were hard to miss as we drove through the town of 11,000 people.
Farmers and landowners who are pro-wind are considered greedy. We were called evil. My husband has been called an ignorant lobbyist. He's been called a moron. He's been called stupid. And these people are our friends, in all honesty. They have been friends for a lot of years.
We used to spend every 4th of July at their house, our kids playing in their pond, riding their jet skis, having cookouts. That's gone now. That's gone. It's hard to even be in the same room anymore.
Jeremy Kitson is the leader of Citizens for Clear Skies. The high school science and math teacher does not like the wind farm about 11 miles from his property.
I do believe that it has a negative health impact on people's quality of life. There's audible noises that come from these turbines when they're in operation. The biggest thing is people live rurally for a reason. They choose to live out here in basically the middle of nowhere for the quiet and peaceful life and the beautiful sights that you see here over our open farmland. I just fear that, if more wind turbines come into Van Wert County, it's going to be a problem for my family's quality of life.
I've seen some of your colorful online posts. Some of the language is pretty aggressive.
It's a daily fight. It's a fight in the streets. It's a fight in the newspapers. It's a fight on online social media. And I'm just fighting for my quality of life. I think that they're misinformed. I think they're misguided.
Right now, the no's are winning that fight. Wind farm development abruptly stopped in 2014 when Republicans, then controlling the Senate, put stiff new restrictions over where turbines could be placed.
We have projects in the pipeline. This is a job killer.
The new rules, toughest in the country, nearly tripled how far the turbines must be from property lines. The vast amount of land needed to comply made building new wind farms economically unviable.
And it happened at the 11th hour of a budget bill. No public testimony was invited or taken on this major change in regulating wind turbines in the state.
Trish Demeter is with the Ohio Environmental Council.
What is the role of Representative Seitz in all of this?
He's a very powerful voice and is, continued to lead a crusade against clean energy in the state.
That crusade is bad for Ohio business.
The irony is, Ohio makes a lot of solar components, but most of them get exported to other states.
Steve Peplin is the CEO of Talon Products, a metal stamping company in Cleveland that manufactures solar parts. He says fallout from repealing the state's clean energy mandates goes well beyond his company.
What happens if mandates turn to goals?
Have a harder time recruiting the Facebooks and Amazons of the world. I think even more important than just discouraging the solar development in Ohio, it sends a message to the millennials that Ohio companies want to recruit nationally. It sends a message, Ohio's not cool, you know?
Oh, you know, they're all trying to get me to say we don't need renewables here. Of course we need renewables. Of course we need solar, and of course we need wind. Ohioans are born to make things. Why not make parts for solar and wind and geothermal and sell them all over the world? There's no reason why we can't do that.
So far, Ohio Governor John Kasich has blocked repeal efforts.
We don't want to shut these advanced ideas out because you don't know where they're going to lead. And they have their usefulness today.
Still, Sites isn't stopping.
Is it really, truly essential for job creation that you have to have renewable portfolio mandates, something out of the 5-year plan playbook of Joseph Stalin in 1940? We will have 25,000 trucks on the Volga by 1944.
But the lawmaker isn't opposed to all renewable initiatives. Turns out he received a hefty federal subsidy to install 29 solar panels on his home near Cincinnati in 2016.
I took advantage of that big tax credit that Uncle Sam is handing out.
I couldn't hardly pass up the lavish federal tax subsidy, and I like the fact that in Ohio I'm able to sell my excess power back to the utility company.
You're selling your energy back to the grid, so
Right.
you're making money on those solar panels, not just paying a charge for renewable energy.
Well, I did pay net out of pocket $11,500, so it'll take somewhere between 8 and 9 years for me to realize a full payback on that investment that I made.
Fossil fuel interests see Sites as a good investment too. They've given him nearly $125,000 in campaign contributions. Plus, contributions from electric utilities to Sites more than tripled after he began trying to dismantle the state's renewable energy standards.
Are you at all concerned that people view you as a flip-flopper that goes with the winds, goes with the tide?
Anybody that knows me knows that's the furthest thing from anybody's mind.
All eyes are on this big energy battleground state to see if the effort to kill clean energy is successful. If so, the plays made here may become a full-on assault nationwide.